Deborah Janie Pendleton. We're back in the kitchen where we're going to be making Rolo cookies. Oh, they are so delicious. You want to use some sort of, in your country, or if you're in America you can get Rolos. If you're in another country, just a little chocolate covered, shell covered caramel. Just make sure that that chocolate covered caramel is a soft caramel on the inside, okay? A soft caramel on the inside is what we're looking for. All right, now I've put those Rolos in the freezer, and you'll want to freeze those little candies. Get them no more than a ½ inch in size. That's why I like the Rolos. They work perfect for this. Put them in the freezer and freeze them for 2 hours, okay? Mine went in overnight. Last night I prepared. We're also going to put the dough in the refrigerator for 2 hours. So dough in the refrigerator for 2 hours, candies, so that way they don't melt and get a mess in the oven all over the cookie sheets. They're going to go in the freezer for 2 hours as well, minimum 2 hours. Again, I just did it overnight. Put our hair up, wash our hands, and we'll be right back, and we're going to start with the ingredients. You're going to want to line your cookie sheets with some parchment paper, but I'm at my daughter's house, and she doesn't have any parchment paper, so we're just going to go ahead and put them on straight up cookie sheets. All right, so I'm winging it today. I brought a lot of my own ingredients, but I forgot to bring my parchment paper. Okay, and as you can see by the snow and the weather outside, it's really icy, and I'm not going to risk going and getting parchment paper. I mean, that could be, what, a $500 deductible? Not worth it. And you can also add chocolate chips to this as well. And I'm using my daughter's KitchenAid, and we are in my daughter's new kitchen, by the way. Okay, we're still here because I still have some construction going on. If you hear people talking or drills or anything in the background, they're still in the garage finishing up the drywall. So let's go ahead and get started making these Rolo cookies. So 2 sticks of unsalted, softened butter. Remember, 1 stick of butter in American measurements is 1/2 cup. And we need a full cup. So we need 2 sticks of butter softened. Now you can soften it in the microwave on 30-second intervals, but it's better just to soften it in room temperature. So not quite completely softened. Like I said, you'll want to be able to kind of cut into it like this right here with a knife, like that right there, and it still holds itself. All right? Soft, but a little firm. A heaping tablespoon of cream cheese, 3/4 cup of sugar, 1 cup of brown sugar, 2 large eggs, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1½ teaspoons of baking soda. Not baking powder, but baking soda. A ½ teaspoon of vanilla extract. I add a little bit of imitation butter, about a 1/4 teaspoon of that, and either the caramel or the imitation rum, another 1/4 to ½ teaspoon of that. I like to mix flavors in mine, and I like the buttered rum flavors, what I'm going for in the cookie dough itself. It really matches up, or the caramel and the vanilla, that really matches up with that chocolate caramel that is in this cookie. And here we have 2 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour. That's all-purpose flour, okay? Okay, I've got the machine all clean because she just moved, so I want to make sure I wash that really well. So here we have the 1 cup of softened, unsalted butter. This one is really getting soft here. All right, we're going to add our heaping tablespoon of cream cheese, and that is just softened as well. Just a heaping tablespoon of that. Lift up our bowl here, lock it in place, and on low, we're just going to blend the butter and the cream cheese together for about 20 seconds. Creamed up nicely. Clean the sides of a bowl with the spatula. And we're going to run it another 5 to 10 seconds. There we go. Raise the speed a little bit. All right, now we're going to add our sugars, and we're going to cream this and incorporate the sugars really well. And this is our 3/4 cup of sugar. Normally I would have this on while I'm adding it. Just going to blend it a little bit. We're going to add our 1 cup of brown sugar, and this is a packed brown sugar. If you don't want your cookie as sweet, you can go with 3/4 of a cup of the brown sugar. This is a light brown sugar, and I do make my own brown sugar, as a lot of you know. And you can go on my channel and you can get that recipe. It's just molasses and sugar. That's all it is, molasses and sugar. The more molasses, the darker the brown sugar. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cream the butters and the sugars together. About 30 seconds. Stop halfway through, and again, scrape down the sides. Back on for another 30 seconds. At this point, we're going to go ahead and add our flavorings. I just put mine in. Remember to give your flavorings a shake. A lot of people don't do that. Got my teaspoon of vanilla in, but again, I want to enrich this with some other flavors. I think I'm going to go with the imitation rum. I think I'll go with about a half a teaspoon of that. Well, I think a 1/4 teaspoon of that actually. Give this one a shake, and imitation butter. And about a 1/4 to a half a teaspoon of the imitation butter. Now we're going to blend that in and cream that into the butters and the sugar. Oh, it smells so good. Oh. You want to really whip this up. See, it's really climbing the side of that bowl. Go ahead and add the eggs. One at a time. Make sure we don't get any shell in there, so you want to crack that in a separate bowl. And we're just going to drop in 1 egg at a time. Put this on a medium. Scrape this down a little bit. Drop in 1 egg. Turn it back down. Add your second egg. Stop it. Scrape the bowl, because a lot of this has climbed up the side of the bowl here. We're going to get it back down in here again. We want to make sure that all the sugars and the butters get some of that egg in it. Back up. And we're going to cream this another 30 seconds. All right. Now we have our 2 3/4 cups of flour. Our 2 3/4 cups of flour. And we're going to add directly to the flour. We're going to add our teaspoon of salt and our 1½ teaspoons of baking soda. Again, that's baking soda. And we're just going to kind of blend that together ahead of time. This just helps to ensure that that gets incorporated, the salt and the baking soda gets incorporated in there nicely. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to wipe down the bowl again. All right, now we're just going to put in a little bit of flour at a time, about a 1/2 cup to 3/4 cup at a time. On low. She doesn't have a guard on her, so. It's coming together nicely. Check your recipe always. Even if you haven't memorized, you got to make sure that you got this. Crank it up a little bit. All right, now this is done. This is it. This is all you have to do. What I like to do though is one more time, I do like to scrape the bowl one last time and then run it about another 10 to 15 seconds. Scrape the bowl again, then we're gonna cover the bowl with plastic wrap and we're gonna slip this in the refrigerator for 2 hours. If you don't do this step, if you do not freeze the Rolos, then it's a mess on your cookie sheet. The freezing of the Rolos really helps the cookie itself get done and it gives it plenty of time, and then that soft caramel and chocolate it won't melt as fast in there. And if this is refrigerated, this just makes for a really nice dough from that unsalted real butter that sweet creamy butter that we added in here. Trust me, this is the way to do this. Now sometimes I'll add a little, like maybe an eighth to a quarter of a package of vanilla instant pudding mix into here. And that's sometimes usually my secret ingredient, but I didn't bring that with me. One more time, we want this very well incorporated. No, I'm going to check the dough and see how it feels. Okay, I feel the dough could use a little more flour, so I'm going to add another quarter cup of flour to this. I can just usually tell, it's about a half a cup actually. I'm going to wipe down my sides. Yeah, it just needs a little bit more flour to this. I put 2 eggs in mine. A lot of people only put 1 egg. And that will make a difference in how thin it is. Turn it on low. Scrape the sides of the pan one more time, and then run it for another 10 seconds. You want to be sure and set your racks for these cookies. And I've never told you this before baking cookies, but these I found that if you set your racks on the top of the oven and the bottom of the oven, even if it's convection, you'll have a better result with these cookies, okay? Or you can just do 1 tray at a time and then go with the middle of the oven. All right? All right, so we're gonna put this in the refrigerator, cover this with plastic wrap, put this in the refrigerator, and we'll be back in about 2 hours. I also wanted to show you my DAC bread machine dinner rolls. They turned out really great, and they tasted, oh, they were delicious, weren't they, John? These honey white sweet rolls, would you like one? Of them, and how beautiful they were. Okay? Oh. They're good. A little butter and honey. So, I'm making another batch of these today as well, and these are going to be our Christmas dinner rolls. Okay, there's our dough. We haven't refrigerated it yet, but see, it's a nice workable dough. You can get something in there, work it around, and that's what it looks like when you tear it apart. This is the consistency of this dough. See that? Now we're just going to cover this with plastic wrap and refrigerate this for 2 hours. Get it to cover with plastic wrap. If you got a lid, some of these comes with plastic lids. If you got a lid, she might have one. I think I'll do that. Oh, no. So I think I'll just put it like that. So that plastic wrap doesn't come undone. We don't want this drying out either. All right, so refrigerate this for 2 hours. 2 hours. See you back here. What I've done here is I've just given this just a little bit of spray with Crisco butter spray. You don't have to do that if you have the parchment paper, but just a little bit. And then I just went like this and smeared it in. And as you can see, it's barely a sheen. And I just mean just a little squirt. Because you don't want to put on this too much, or else it'll make the bottom of the cookie spread out way too much. So I'm taking off as much back off here as I possibly can with my finger. See? Now, and we're just going to use an ice cream scoop. Something like this, or a cookie dough dropper. Don't you just love this thing? I got this, I had one, and then I got one for my daughter because she liked it so well. You can just dip into here like this, get what you need, and then drop onto the cookie sheet just like that. If you're making regular chocolate chip cookies or something like that, that works great. This, however, works better to get the right amount here. About how much you want, a little over a tablespoon. We have enough, and this, like I said, just an ice cream scoop. And see how nice and hard this is now? These are frozen. We're going to work quickly here, and we want to make sure that we encase this completely, and then pinch off the extra that we don't need. There we go. Give it a roll. 2 inches apart on the cookie sheet, and flatten. And again, if you see any of the chocolate coming through, cover it up. We don't want that seeping out, okay? And by freezing the candies first and using the very soft caramels, these will melt up nicely within the cookies without making a mess all over the cookie sheet. We're just going to do the same thing, and we're just going to keep going. Just use my thumb, make a hole like you would for a thumbprint cookie. Drop in the Rolo. And you could even make these like this if you wanted to, and they'd melt across the top. Try to keep them all the same size. Use that ice cream scoop. Roll into a ball. Press with your thumb. Don't push in very hard. And just wrap it around like that onto a ball. And again, about 2 inches apart and slightly flatten. You know, I realize I don't make desserts very often on my show at all, do I? I know that probably would make me a lot more popular, wouldn't it? Something somebody taught me, a little trick. And if you layer this like this, and then run these down the middle, you can actually get more of these on your cookie sheet. Just a little tip there when you're making cookies. I love making Christmas cookies. Write me down below. We'll make another contest of it. I have more pie birds. This time I have a rooster pie bird. So if you leave, you have to be a subscriber to the channel, to my channel, Janie Pendleton. And you have to leave a comment below. Hit that thumbs up button if it allows you to. And like and share this video, and on one of your social sites like Facebook or Twitter or something along that line, and let me know that you did, and I'll enter you into the contest. It's for the lower 48 states and Canada. I can now ship to Canada for a reasonable price now, so so we'll include Canada in this contest as well. And it's for a rooster, I'm trying to cover that one up better. It's for a rooster pie bird, and it is gorgeous. I'll try to put a picture of it here. Okay, we're back. Isn't that beautiful? And so, like I said, I bought a bunch of pie birds. Everybody really loved the pie birds, and I'm guessing the pie bird that I had gotten at the Goodwill store. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get my hands on some, and when I do, I'm gonna give them away for prizes for Christmas. So yeah, so just as per usual, and then John will draw a name out of a hat. And if you want, you can even leave a recipe below, a pie recipe, or your favorite Christmas, how about your favorite Christmas cookie recipe? Favorite Christmas pie or cake or something. You know, your favorite holiday dessert or candy, or even cookie, pie, cake, whatever. What is your family holiday favorite? What is your tradition? What is your tradition? There we go. I think those look pretty even, don't you? And we're just going to slip these in the oven at 350 degrees. When they start, there's my oven, that's telling me my oven's heated, preheated. Now, when they start to get a little brown here, light brown on the sides, that tells you that they're done. And we're gonna let them rest on the cookie sheet for about 30 seconds to 60 seconds, you know, a full minute. And then we are going to take them off and put them here. Now, while this is in the oven, however, if you don't, you know, if you're not going to be making more up right away, then put your plastic back on, put these back in the freezer, and this back in the refrigerator. We want to keep these cold. Got to keep them cold. All right, and that's what I'm going to do now. I'd give one of these away if I had another one, but I don't have another one. I mean, I had a hard time finding that one. I'll just put this in the oven. And I haven't figured out how to set her timer yet. Right back. Okay, what I've done here is while those were in the oven, I just went ahead and made the rest of them up and just laid them in here on top of each other gently. Remember, you don't want to handle the dough very much because then it starts to kind of get tacky on the hands. See, at the end here, it started kind of getting tacky on my hands. But you want this thick enough and just right so it doesn't stick to your hands, and cold enough. So now I'm just lightly sitting them here on top of each other here. We've got 3 minutes left on the first batch here. I'm just going to go like that right there with the plastic on them. I'm going to put these back in the refrigerator. And here we got some extras for eating. Right. They look excellent, and oh, if only I had smell-o-vision. All right, let's get one of these off of here. Now, a good way to package these is just in some little tin or Christmas tin, just like this, with a layer of parchment paper, and just layer a few cookies in here and some chocolates, and maybe a piece of white fudge, maybe some peppermint bark, and these would make excellent Christmas holiday gifts, okay? And again, it's just a matter of learning in your new home. It's a matter of learning your oven. They're all different, very temperamental items. And like I said, my oven, I would have to have added a little bit more time onto my oven. This has a preset 350 on this oven. I don't know if you can see that or not. And that's an issue for me because it's convection, I could definitely drop that down to 345. So what I'd like to probably do is take a measurement of her oven temperature, because I bet it's off 5 to 6 degrees. Perfectly normal, it's just that you need to know that so you can adjust your recipe temperature for that. See, a lot of people don't think about that. And you can get an oven thermometer and you can turn on your oven light and see what temperature it's actually getting in there. And because it's convection and it's putting the air around these, it's going to cook these and brown them a little quicker. All right? So be sure and adjust your oven temperature and your time if it's convection. Here's another little holiday container. I'm gonna try one of these right here for the camera. Look at that. Look at that. That looks delicious. I'll do that one more time. Oh my, I gotta try it. Remember, the caramel and chocolate in this is still very hot, especially that caramel. So you're gonna wanna let them cool down, or at least 5 minutes before you serve these, at least. Oh, those are delicious. Even if they're a little done, they're still really, really delicious. I'm gonna give a bite to Daddy. In fact, I'm gonna give a bite to you. Can you see that? Like I said, I got these these are about 1.5 to 2 minutes to done. Here, have a bite. You want one?
Sure.
Gotta try them. I got these a little bit too done because this is the first time I've used her oven.
Thank you.
Here, take a few out.
All right. There we go. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Smells delicious.
And nothing better than to eat them. And by the way, I'm a dunker. Are you a dunker? I'm a dunker.
They are very good.
Are they? I'm glad you like them.
Yes.
Like I said, I got them a little bit too brown, but.
Well, that's fine with me.
A cookie is a cookie, isn't it?
Yep.
So here you go, Daddy. I can get you some milk with that if you want some milk.